Yo, what is up guys, my name is Grizzly, and today I'm back with another top lane champion guide. Today it's Cho'Gath, which I'm gonna cover. If you've been following pro play recently, or if you've just played a lot of solo queue yourself, you will have noticed that Cho'Gath is played top lane a lot. He's basically one of the, I would say, 3 best top lane champions at the moment. He has a lot of good matchups. Obviously, really safe laning phase due to his sustain with his passive. Also, insane scaling. He's just one of the most tankiest champions in the game. But I would not bet on this champion staying at this level for a long time, because the thing with Cho'Gath is that his kit is actually terrible. It's just that now his numbers are just way out of control. So if you're looking for a champion that you can play over a long extended period of time and constantly improve at and develop your skill set, I would probably not recommend Cho'Gath. I would mostly play him if you want to abuse the current form of Cho'Gath. So I'm gonna go over his spells real quick. Very straightforward. His passive, basically every time he last hits or kills a champion or a monster, he gets health and mana, so his sustain is through the roof in the laning phase. His Q is probably one of the worst abilities in the game in my opinion. It's super slow, it has a decent base damage, kind of a good scaling, but it's so hard to hit, especially against competent players. It's basically used as a zoning tool, so if you want to cut off an escape, you can put the Q there and the opponent will have to walk into you. That's the only thing it's used for. His W is an AoE silence, a really good ability. It does decent damage, it's pretty good for wave clear. You max this ability second. Then his E, it's basically now a active. Before it was just a passive, which you probably would have active 90% of the time before, but now his next 3 autos deals a lot of damage, and they also slow. So this is the ability you max first, and now his feast is basically just, you click on an opponent, you deal a lot of true damage, and you can stack infinitely on champions, and on creeps you can get a maximum of 6 stacks. So after you've feasted 6 creeps and you have 6 stacks, you get bonus HP for each stack. You can basically continue to stack it on champions or epic monsters. A reasonable amount, I would say, is if you get 12 to 13 stacks, you're basically a late game god, because you will be huge, you will be able to block every skill shot in the game, and you will also have so much HP, it will be ridiculous. Okay, so I'm gonna go over his mastery page real quick, gonna make a new one here. So basically you want to aim for Grasp of the Undying. There's not really any other keystone that is good on Cho'Gath. His CC is not reliable enough, and Grasp just basically suits him really well. Okay, so recovery first, you could go Unyielding, but it doesn't really matter. Unyielding is quite trash. Then Tough Skin. Here you want to go Runic Armor, because he does have a lot of healing and regeneration, so this will give you a lot of value. Then Insight, if you're against a really tough opponent, maybe you could go Fearless if you're super scared of dying early, but I would say Insight is better most of the time. After this you want to go into Swiftness, because Cho'Gath is a really slow champion, and he's very vulnerable to CC, so you want to be able to prevent that as much as possible. After this you go into Grasp of the Undying. So then you go into Ferocity. Now I would recommend Sorcery. This does not affect his ulti, however, because it's true damage, so you could go Fury, but overall I think Sorcery is better. Then here, Feast is kind of useless because you have so much sustain already, so I would probably go into Fresh Blood. Then here I would go 4 points into Natural Talent and 1 into Vampirism probably. This is best for most champions, but you could also go 5 points, it doesn't really matter. And here you want to go into Battle Trance because you don't want to take more damage because you're a tank. You don't want to rely on getting kills, so Bounty Hunter is not that good. Okay, so the runes real quick, really simple here. You basically just go AP and attack speed and standard armor and magic resist, glyphs and seals. So you go AP Queens and attack speed reds. So that's basically it for the runes and masteries. I'm gonna go into game and show you guys his combos and what to build and stuff like that. So see you guys in a sec. Okay, so as for starting items on Cho'Gath, I would say that Corrupting Potion most of the time is the best choice. As for after your starting items, the first item you always want to build on Cho'Gath is pretty much Righteous Glory, because it gives you health, mana. You really need the mana actually on Cho'Gath, is quite mana hungry. And also you get cooldown reduction, armor, and the active, which is super good for champions such as Cho'Gath, Maokai and stuff like that, that needs the extra engaging power. Especially for Cho'Gath to get in range for his ultimate later, this is pretty much mandatory. Now if you're against a AP tank, or even I would say AP champion top lane, Abyssal Mask Rush is also quite viable, and if you're not rushing Abyssal Mask, it can also be worth going second item instead. It's actually a really good item. Now the thing is, you really don't need the mana for both of these, but the items are so good in themselves that it doesn't really matter that you kind of overcap on the mana department. Now, as for your third item, you always want to go Gargoyle Stoneplate, because this item, this is like what makes Cho'Gath broken right now. It basically increases your maximum health for a short duration, which actually increases his ult damage. So if you have a lot of stacks up and you use Gargoyle Stoneplate and you just go into melee with a carry and fist them, you've all seen the videos, it can do like over 2k damage, so it's really disgusting. Boots, of course, either mercs or ninjas. And then after this, Spirit Visage is a really good item, but that's if they have more AP as well, but otherwise, like, Spirit Visage is a really strong item on Cho'Gath. It gives healing received increased by 30%, so that's really strong. And as for the last item, it really depends actually. Frozen Heart is a good buy, but it kind of overcaps CDR if you have both of these. So maybe you don't want one of these if you need the... If you want the attack speed slow, it's really up to you. Other than that, you could also go into Deadman's Plate for the extra movement speed. I would not recommend that, however. I would say either Thornmail or Randuin's are the standards, or you could also go Wormhawk's Armor if the fight's prolonged for a really long time. But something like this is like the standard Cho'Gath late game build. It really like doesn't really matter that much. You don't really have like a set 6 core item build. It mostly depends on the enemy team comp, but just make sure that you grab Righteous Glory and that you grab Gargoyle Stoneplate. Those are basically the core items. Since Cho'Gath spells are like, they're so extremely straightforward actually, there's not really much to show on target dummies. So his Q looks like this, and it has quite a long range, but the thing is, if you see when I use it here, it has a really long delay, so it's actually really difficult to hit. So as I said earlier, used as a zoning tool. Other than that, his W is quite a big radius also, and it's an AoE silence. As you can see, the silence is quite long. It's 2 seconds long at max rank, so that's quite good. And one thing to note with his E that I see a lot of Cho'Gaths missing out on is that it's an auto attack reset. So use it to reset your auto attack timer to get more DPS. And we can just try using this, and now I don't have any stacks, but as you can see, it deals almost 1000 true damage, even though I don't have any stacks whatsoever, and I didn't get like the full effect of it because obviously there needs to be 3+ enemy champions nearby. But yeah, that's basically Cho'Gath, guys. He's a really simple champion. Not really that much to go over in terms of his abilities. He's really basic and really easy to pick up, so if you just want some free low in your solo queue games, make sure to pick Cho'Gath. He's banned a lot though, so that's a problem if you want to like main him. But other than that, guys, thanks a lot for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.